Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the debate of the week. Now this debate of the week is a good one. My debate is the wrestlers who could have gone farther. Yes, the thing is that there are many wrestlers that are in the business, doesn't matter what promotion, that could have been pushed a lot harder. Either because of their own actions or external actions. In other words, some type of politicking that they didn't get as far as they could have. So I'm going to go through a list that I have and probably add a few more that aren't on my list. But these are the people I believe could have gone a lot farther and can go farther if they're still in the business. First person that isn't there right now but eventually will come back that could have gone farther is Christian, or in TNA Christian Cage. Christian, and I'm sure Mr. Ralph is going to say that guy's nothing but a piece of crap. He's nothing. I can understand your point of view because, look, he worked with Edge. He's no Edge. No one is an Edge. But he has his own ability in his own right. Yes, he was a good mid-carder. He's not bad. He's done some pretty good storylines over the years. But the thing is that around 2011, he had his shot to become world champion, and he did. The first championship. And the thing that got me was they didn't really give him enough time to really see how well he could do as a face, as champion. They didn't give it to him. And what happened? He lost the title in 2 days. Of course, they said it was 5, but it was 2. We all know that. But there's no way of knowing how far he could have gone with the first title run. There's no way of knowing how he could have gone if he had been presented properly. The WWE just yanked it from him before he even had it. And then they stuck him with this one more match. One that destroyed anything that he had, any credibility, which right now he's lost it. He had the IC title before he left because of injury, and let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen, no interest, nothing, zero. He comes back, he's going to be mediocre at best, and this is where the problem is. Christian, over the years, when he was in TNA or in WWE, has been known to be a good mid-carder. You can say, and I understand your feeling, Mr. Ralph, but you can't deny that he's at least a decent mid-carder. He can do decent work. I'm not saying great work, but decent. But the thing is, he was never given that push, that really strong push in WWE. TNA, yes, but this is the WWE, and they never gave him the option to do it. They gave him a taste of it and then ripped it from him before he even had any traction. So I hope you see it like that, Mr. Ralph. I hope you see that it's not the point that he's nothing but a basic under or mid-carder. The point is that you never even had a chance to see what he has his potential. Because sometimes people who don't even look like they got a potential, they got it. Look at John Cena. As much as we can't stand the man, he doesn't look like he had any potential when he started out. The prototype was interesting in OVW, but that didn't really mean he was going to be a world main eventer. And he is one. And the key of it is that when he was doing his really simple vanilla flavor piece of crap little thing that he was doing with changing his trunks every time he went to a different place, no one thought he was going to become a main eventer for 7 years or more. Nobody thought it. But there he is. Because he put the time in, no matter how much you can't stand it. He did the politicking, no matter how much a person can't stand it. And he was willing to give up his marriage. His health is not great right now. And going off to do movies where he probably would have been mediocre at best doing movies. But still, people saw him, they liked him. He could have done something as an actor. He gave all that up to stay in that ring. So he's someone that was totally unexpected. We don't know if that could have happened to Christian. We weren't even given that option. It was just ripped from him after 2 days, and that's it for Christian. Next person that is still in the business right now and is not doing practically anything but spinning his wheels is Kofi Kingston. Kofi had his chance in 08 to 09. And he's a good mid-carder. We know he's good if he's not botching. He's not bad on the mic. He's got a decently good physique. He has good in-ring presence. He can tell a story, like I said, if he's not botching. and he's got charisma. But the problem is that he was stopped dead in his tracks by Mr. Randy Orton. Randy Orton, who didn't like him and said, "Stupid, stupid," during one of those matches. That really was where it just began to go down, and he hit the ground hard. And he's still trapped in the same place. Oh, we see Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston near each other now, and we see them shake hands and do a wrestling match together, but does that mean he's gone into the main event scene? No. Nothing. I'm hoping one day he will. At least give one push one more time to see if he could do it. The thing that many people don't get is that you don't know what a person can do until you give them that option. You don't. Once they've been pushed into the main event scene, if they have the ability to do it, then you give them that shot to see. Kofi in 08-09 was showing that he could possibly do it, but then it was ripped from him before he even had the chance to know. And that was mainly because of politics. So right now, we don't know if Kofi has that ability. We don't. We have not even one clue if he has the ability. And he's been in mid-card so long, I think he's gotten complacent in mid-card. He thinks he can't. He probably, if I'm him, being trapped in this and have done everything I can to try and go up, he probably has become complacent, thinking, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm just going to stay mediocre and I'm not going to worry about it, because at least I'm getting a paycheck, at least I'm still traveling the world, and at least I'm getting exposure, and that's all I care about. That's a possibility. That's what he's thinking right now, and he ain't even trying anymore. But if I'm hoping that I'm right, I'm not happy about that. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. That he says, you know what, I gotta try and get into the main event scene. I hate this. This is garbage. This is stupid. And I'm gonna fight. In real life, for me, I'd rather just keep fighting. But if I'm stuck in that situation, there's a good possibility I would do it, but who wouldn't? I mean, think about it for a minute. If you had been given a push and then was ripped from somebody and you want to break his face, which is Randy Orton, you got to deal with what you want or leave. And he didn't leave. So he was a good worker. He decided to just keep going with what he had and maybe think he's going to get a better shot later. But Kofi deserves better, just to see if he even has the ability that will make the fans happy and make Kofi happy. Another one, the person we just talked about who caused the most trouble right now for Kofi Kingston is Randy Orton himself. Randy Orton was originally brought in from OVW, we know that. Brought into Evolution, we know that. Became the Legend Killer, the Apex Predator, and right now, the Viper. Well, the Viper, then the Apex Predator. Sorry. But honestly, it doesn't really make a difference. Either one still fits the bill. But the thing is that people thought he was going to have higher potential. Look, Evolution had 4 guys in it. 2 of them, they thought out of those 2, which is Batista and Randy Orton, they thought Randy Orton was the business. But guess this, who was the more better draw? Who was the more better charismatic person? Who was the one that had more strength in their promos, in their in-ring work, even if they were stiff? Batista. Sleeper hit number 1 right there. An unexpected turn. Just like with John Cena, Batista was not expected to get very far. He had a good look. He had a good sounding feel when he was working with Devon as the Deacon. Let's be honest. No one thought Batista was going to be that great, and he was. And now Batista's left the business, as we know, and has gone to MMA. I hope he does well, but honestly, we really need him back. We need his drawing power, because what's going on right now sucks. We need someone who has still a connection to the business. People still reasonably remembers him, who is highly charismatic, who is great on the mic, who had a good physique, who had good in-ring presence. In-ring work, he's a big guy, so they don't always have great in-ring work. But Batista wasn't that bad at all. But we need him. But right now, the person we're dealing with is Randy Orton. And Randy Orton, he may have a good physique. He has a natural talent for doing wrestling, but he has not panned out. He hasn't. The persons that tried to put him over was Mick Foley, Triple H himself, and pretty much The Undertaker. Undertaker tried to put this boy over. And what did we get? 3 good signature losses and victories, but in the end, It hasn't gotten him very far. Yes, he's in the Breakfast Club, but the Breakfast Club is having 2 really good members and almost an honorary member. I know that's kind of being a little cruel to Randy Orton because he has done some body of work where there have been moments where he's done very good. I'm not saying he hasn't, but the thing is that main reason he's there is because of the potential people think he had as Bob Orton Sr. and Jr.'s grandson and son. That is the reason why he got into OVW. That's the reason why he got into WWE. Because of the potential, because of being a 3rd generation superstar. And that still sticks with you. If you're 2nd or 3rd generation, that sticks with you, ladies and gentlemen. That can still get you over. Honestly. And there are cases where it doesn't work, but there are cases where it does, and I believe that's still what's keeping him at the top. Because the way he works, the way he talks, the way he acts outside the ring in his promos, he's a mid-carder. He is. And I'm not really bashing him badly, but he is a mid-carder. Or at least above mid-carder. Not a main eventer. He just doesn't have the personality and the charisma for it. He doesn't. And I don't hate Randy Orton. The baby oil for all, baby. But it's just not. He's just not there. So the next person we have on this list, and this is someone that really had great potential and just let it go. Brock Lesnar. The next big thing. The next big thing is going, that was someone that the WWE was incredibly invested in back in 2002, 2003, into 2004, when he was basically heard about in 2002 that something's coming, into 2003 when he was there, and 2004 when he finally left after having that match with... Okay, that match with Goldberg was just... Everyone could see that neither one of them wanted to be there. Neither one. Goldberg wins, but it was obvious that everyone lost. Because when he left to go and do football, and then go into I can't even say UFC, because he has done so well in UFC. He has. But the problem is he could have done 10 times better in wrestling. And he didn't really give himself a chance. He really didn't. He was the type of person that was very competitive. I do understand that. And he wanted something a little bit more than what he was getting. Getting a paycheck to do that stuff. And let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, wrestling may be fake and may be scripted, but it's very hard. People get severely hurt. And there are points where you actually can wrestle people in there if they let it go. Yes, the wrestlers will talk between one another, but there are points when they actually do wrestle. There are points. And I'm sure that wasn't just enough for him. I'm not going to bash him that badly, but he never gave himself a chance to really have time in the business. Because he could have easily outshined John Cena, outshine Randy Orton, and probably outshine Edge. And that's saying a lot. Edge is the best person between John Cena, Randy Orton. I'm telling you, Edge is the one that was the most best main eventer we had. He was. Yeah, John Cena was doing a lot more, but that doesn't mean he was better. Edge was better. But Brock Lesnar could have stripped even Edge as the earliest and youngest up-and-comer and main eventer. He could have easily done it. But we'll never know because he never stayed long enough in the business to find out. They were giving a monster push for about a year and a couple of months, and then he left, and that destroyed the business. The business lost its investment, and we were forced to take on people who really weren't ready for the main event scene. Main event scene. The person that was good for the main event scene was Edge. Edge was great for the main event scene. It was obvious he was good for it. Randy Orton isn't really good for the main event scene. Not a bad guy, probably. Maybe a pain in the ass. A good mid-carder, but he isn't that great. John Cena, the rapping John Cena, was a better main eventer than the current generic main event scene. That's the truth. John Cena, as Dr. Thugonomics, had way more potential than John Cena C Nation. Really. So that's how I feel about that. Next person, Sting. This is currently one of the things that I believe is a total 100% loss. You see, Sting has been around a long time. He's done such very good body of work. The WWE wanted him years ago, and he chose not to because he really, and this is by my perspective, he really believed that he wouldn't be treated properly because he would have been seen as a mediocre wrestler. Not seen for all the body of work he's done. And I can understand that. If I've done huge amount of work beforehand, I should be recognized for it. Not just ridiculed for it. Because when the alliance angle came, what happened to the wrestlers from the WCW? They were treated like mediocre wrestlers. And I'm sure Sting saw that and was not happy about it, so he chose not to go. And I can understand that, but it's a huge loss for the fans because Sting and The Undertaker are the one pretty much match that everyone wants to see. Yes, The Undertaker's much younger than Sting and doesn't have the same amount of time as Sting. But the thing is that people want to see that match. And if anyone thinks that the WWE doesn't want Sting, they're still fiending for him. Even if it's not as great as it used to be. I'm sure they still want him for the simple fact that that match is the one thing that would sell out WrestleMania. Doesn't matter if it's WrestleMania 29, WrestleMania 30, WrestleMania 31, or WrestleMania 32. People have been wanting to see that match for so long. It would sell it out. And it would sell out pay-per-views because that is the one thing people were screaming for. 2011, what did they think? They thought Sting was finally coming. And if Sting had came, it would have blown the roof off of the Raw. That was 2/21/11, I believe. I can't remember if that was the date. If that was the date, people would have blown the roof off of that stadium because they wanted to see Sting so much go up against The Undertaker. And it was just The Undertaker with Shawn Michaels. No problem, though. Who hated? No, not, yeah, pretty much that was it. And no one hated that match. No one hated the matches they had done. No one hated the match too much with pretty much Triple H and The Undertaker. But the one that people really want to see is The Undertaker and Sting. Even in Sting and his diminished condition would still be the most hugest draw you could see. He's not Crow Sting anymore. He's pretty much Joker Sting. Joker Sting doesn't have the same moves as Crow Sting. He doesn't have the same charisma as Crow Sting. But it doesn't mean he doesn't have the same appeal. People love Sting. And it's a loss that it's not there. One more I believe that I'm going to do. I believe this person had great drawing power, but was never really pushed that hard. And the thing is that, it's just sad to see this. You see, the problem is, this person is now dead. And it's not Chris Benoit. It is Eddie Guerrero. The thing is that Eddie had reached the main event scene. He was doing great until he had his heart attack and he died. The problem is he didn't have enough time to stay in the main event scene as he was to really see what he could have done. He still had more than a few years, if he hadn't died, to try and be in the main event scene and see what he could get away with before he died, before he would have retired. Go into the Hall of Fame. And I'm glad they put him in the Hall of Fame after his death. He deserved it. He worked so hard to straighten out his life. But you know what? It would have been greater if he had been alive. A lot of people wish he was still alive because the business really needs him. By the time of this recording, I think he would have been nearing 50. I think he would have been near 50. I don't remember how. I think he was born in 1965. So he would be about maybe 49, 48, 47 years old. He would be in his late years, but he would still be good enough to go in the ring. And seeing him die due to his body just finally couldn't handle what it went through all the drugs he had to take because of his bad injuries, through the steroids he was taking, through the drinking he was taking, through the injuries he received, like when he got caught in a car crash because he was drunk behind the wheel. And I'm not bashing the man. I actually really like Latino heat. I did. I said once that when I was working in a nursing home, and in New York, the one I was working at two. One was called Isabella Generic Center. And my boss, who knew someone in the wrestling business, managed to get the red Lion, Cheat, and Steal t-shirts. And I said, how did you get these? He said, I know someone in the business, and he connected. He was really good friends with Eddie. And he gave me about 40 shirts. He gave my boss 40 shirts, who, if you saw my boss at the time, big man. Think about the big, not the tugboat. That's how large he was. Nice guy, really. But you would never expect him to be a wrestling fan, and he was. He was a great wrestling fan, and he knew a friend who was in it, and a friend who knew Eddie Guerrero before he died. That was around 2003, before his death. And managed to get those shirts. And I still have that shirt today. I don't wear it. Particularly that after I found he died, I decided to just keep it and keep it safe as a memory of Eddie Guerrero. I have it stored away behind me in all those bags somewhere. If anyone can see the bags back there, and it's a bit of a mess in my apartment. But you know what? I'm very proud that I have that shirt. As a guy who doesn't have a lot of cash because he's got to pay a lot of bills, particularly child support, I was glad to get a gift like that, and knew someone who was loosely connected to Eddie Guerrero. I never met the man, but it was great to actually have something like that. And it hurts me to know that Eddie's gone, that he had such great potential. So I hope you like this debate of the week. Subscribe and comment to Zane's View. Tell me who the ones you really believe should have been pushed harder because they were stopped due to some type of outside influence, or something about themselves getting sick. Anyone you could think of. Maybe a Lex Luger. Maybe an Ultimate Warrior that he could have been more. Maybe a Bret Hart. Whoever you think of, give me a comment below. And you guys have a good day.